Welcome to Beyond the Coverage. I'm Chris Horner. In today's episode, I want to take you guys back to the 25 Tour de France because there was some headline news made out from Tadej Pogačar where he talked about having some knee pain. Now that explains a ton of stuff that we saw tactically where Tadej Pogačar was a little bit muted on stages 18 and 19 of the 25 Tour de France. I can remember after the 25 Tour de France with Tadej Pogačar's spectacular win. Remember, he won 4 times. But even in the third week, when he was a little bit muted for those mountain stages, I can remember many commenters saying, he's getting bored, he's getting tired out here, he doesn't want to be racing his bike anymore. This might be the last time that Tadej Pogačar races on this form. But now we see with the headline news here from Tadej Pogačar from a couple days ago that really it was a knee injury at the 25 Tour de France. We look at the article, we read it, that it came on after stage 16, Mont Ventoux. After that stage finished, he said he started having some knee injuries, and that's when we started seeing the rider, the Slovenian from UAE Team Emirates, being a little bit more down, a little bit more calm in the interviews. We also know he had a little bit of the sniffles and stuff going on there where maybe he got a little bit of congestion up in the head and stuff. But that knee injury would explain a ton. Guys, if we could take you back into stage 11, Tadej Pogačar crashed into stage 11 just at the finish. Remember when he overlapped wheels of the Uno X rider, slid out to the left side, hit the island there, jumped back up, got on his bike, and started pedaling? Well, that was stage 11. Now, I'm not saying that caused a problem. I don't even know which knee he had problems with. But when you start looking at crashes like stage 11, if you're hitting the hip hard, it sets the alignment off on the bike. Next thing you know, it starts pulling the muscles differently, and you have one knee yanking one way, another knee yanking the other way. You got massive thighs, there's power going on the pedals, every pedal stroke, thousands upon thousands of pedal strokes throughout each stage of a Tour de France, right? Then we start seeing the knee pain come in. Now we know from this article that Tadej's talking about possibly not even finishing the 25 Tour de France. It could have ruined his victory there, then it would have gone to Jonas Vingegaard. Now we start thinking if he drops out of the Tour de France and he goes to Jonas, now all of a sudden you have 3 Tour de France wins from Jonas Vingegaard, and you got 3 from Tadej Pogačar, so they're even again, and the discussion starts rolling about who is the better riders again. Okay, Pogi won a ton of stuff, all the classics, all that stuff. He would add the knee injury as the reason for abandoning the 25 Tour de France. But nonetheless, I see it all the time. I saw it throughout both of the Grand Tour victories at the Tour de France from Jonas Vingegaard when he won in 22 and he won in 23, where everyone said Jonas was the best rider in the world. I remember working for NBC. Christian Vander Velde said live on the air that he would take Jonas Vingegaard on his team. I asked him live on air, would you sign Jonas Vingegaard? Because they kept telling me, everyone at NBC at Peacock there kept telling me how Jonas Vingegaard was the best rider in the world. Tadej Pogačar is the second best rider. Jonas has to be the best. And I pinned down Christian there live on the air, and he said, I would not take Tadej Pogačar. I'll take Jonas Vingegaard as my only pick if that's the budget I have. I was like, you're like the guy who traded Babe Ruth back in the day. Well, now if we take you in the 25 Tour de France, that small little knee injury, if it cost him the Tour de France, there'd be people saying, well, Jonas won the Tour de France in 2025. I told you guys in 2025, Jonas didn't have a spectacular season. He has never been his best. Those were my exact words. But now if Tadej had dropped out, there would be commenters, many commenters telling me, Jonas is the best. He's a 3-time Tour de France winner. He just got done winning. And I'd have to explain to you that or explain to some, not to all of you, that there is a knee problem and that would cause a rider to drop in form. So you got to give some adjustments when you're setting up riders on your list of favorites, your first page list. You got to give some adjustments for crashes, for injuries, and those kind of things that come into play to a professional athlete's life throughout the season. Now, I love the article though. I love how Tadej Pogačar is honest about the knee injury later after it comes out. And I feel for him. In 2013, when I was racing the Vuelta a España, I had a behind the knee issue happen on my left knee. You can see it taped up in that 2013 Vuelta where I have tape behind it where my wife was taping it up for me. She literally came into the team bus the next stage and started taping my knee up, and the team staff was going berserk, bringing a woman up into the team bus at a Grand Tour while I'm racing for the race leader's jersey, red jersey there at the Vuelta a España. They couldn't believe I was bringing my wife in the bus. I said, I don't have time to explain it to you. I need my wife to tape my knee up. So you think about that where stage 8, I felt the knee injury to begin with, and I started racing crazy tactics at the finish of stage 8 so I could try to win the stage because I didn't think I was going to start 9. And even on the summit finish of 9, it was a short summit finish that went in super powerful, super steep. Once we came into that town, I backed off the throttle because I knew if I went too hard up that final climb, aka Tadej Pogačar, stage 18 and 19, where Ben O'Connor won stage 18 and our Insman won stage 19, because Pogi did what? He raced wisely. He backed off the throttle. This is the more educated adult experience now that Tadej Pogačar is coming into, where if you cannot get rid of Jonas Vingegaard right away, you do not want to lose time to Jonas Vingegaard. And those were the interviews that we saw from Tadej Pogačar where he said he had to race and protect the GC instead of being aggressive. That means that when we see him in the interviews afterwards, especially after stage 18 and 19, it's cold, it's miserable, it's wet, his knee's been bothering him, he didn't get the win, he didn't get to dominate the race, so he's coming into this press after the stages and he looks a little bit down. He says, oh, it's been a hard 3 weeks. Everybody's tired like this, but what we're seeing is a Tadej Pogačar in a little bit of pain. Now remember, live, during the butterfly effect, I told you guys, no, I don't think it's morale. I think he's just playing it safe. So I wasn't wrong in saying that he's playing it safe, but what it really is now is the knee injury, and it would explain everything. Now, one other thing I want to bring up for sure when we see the article again is that Tadej Pogačar talks about taking on water, basically. So what the body does whenever it goes into trauma, it always gains weight. I have gone into the hospital. I remember crashing 2014 while riding for Lampre, getting hit in the tunnel, which basically ended my career, and I was in the emergency room. I was just out training in Laco, around Lake Como there, and I crashed, and I was stuck in the hospital, the emergency room, the emergency room, and I had a private room for about 5 days. So I was in an intensive care unit for about 3 and another 2 or 3 days in a private room. I didn't eat anything, guys. I mean, they're barely able to feed me. The first few days, I'm not eating anything. The next few days, I'm just putting in little bits and soup and toast and stuff like that. And I come out of that after a week-long stay there in Laco at the hospital there. I come out of there gaining like 7-8 pounds. It was ridiculous. You come out, and remember, I was getting ready for the Giro d'Italia in 2014, and when I left, I knew I wasn't doing the Giro. But immediately as a professional athlete, you're thinking, okay, there's no Giro, but I'm going to do the Tour de France. And you get out of the hospital afterwards and you get on the scale and you're 7, 8, 9, 10 pounds heavy and you haven't eaten anything. So the body just absorbs everything when you go into a trauma mode. And that's what Tadej Pogačar is talking about when he has that extra water weight that he's talking about in the interview there. What happens is the knee and any kind of injury to the body, and it could have started after that stage 11 crash, where instead of losing weight throughout the Tour de France as you progress into the second week and deep into the third week of the Tour de France, is that you've gained maybe a kilo or a half a kilo instead of losing a half a kilo or a kilo throughout the Tour de France. Now, when I was riding for Astana at Tour of California 2009, I crashed extremely hard on my left knee, and then I was taking painkillers throughout the race to make it through the finish line. Now, I've always said, and I've talked about this many times here on our channel here with Garrett and I, when we're talking about the having to take some medication to get through races. I was taking tramadol. In those days, it was legal to take tramadol, and what was happening along with the injury to the knee, the painkillers, if you're taking an excessive amount of them, and I was taking an excessive amount of them in order to be able to pedal every 1,000 pedal revolutions throughout each of the stages of the Tour of California, It was helping me to stay on my bike, but it was not helping me to perform. What was happening is I was gaining weight. I could visibly see the weight gain stage after stage after stage. And I remember coming into the San Diego stage where we were finishing up Mount Palomar, going over the top of and finishing in Rancho. And I remember saying that morning to my teammates, when we get on Mount Palomar and I'm looking over at my team leaders, when I'm looking over at Lance Armstrong and Levi Leipheimer, I'm telling those guys, do not wait for me on Mount Palomar. My form has dropped stage by stage by stage, and it was all caused from water weight that's been taken on from the knee injury, and I can assume a lot of weight was taken on from the painkillers that I was using aggressively to go through all those stages so that I can get to the finish. But what was happening, by the time Tour of California had finished, I'd put on at least 5 pounds. And so that's what we had saw again from Tadej Pogačar and what he's talking about in his interviews from the injury. I don't know if he was taking any medications. I'm not saying he was, but there's plenty of legal medications that you can take. And whenever you're taking medications, you got to assume that you're going to have some water weight retention that's coming on from that medication too. So that's what we had experienced in 2025, where now it's become very clear after we saw Tadej Pogačar win the 25 Tour de France, after we saw him just get done finishing winning Tour of Lombardia and the Men's Road World Championships. Lombardia after back-to-back victories, breaking records there. He was fantastic. So we know from that interview, along with the victories that we've seen from Tadej Pogačar at the end of the 25 season, that the Slovenian is not done. So you better hit the like and subscribe button, because clearly the Slovenian is going to put on a show in the 26th season coming up. Like and subscribe, guys. I hope you guys liked today's take. I'll bring you some more videos, so hit that button, and I'll see you guys for the next adventure of Beyond the Coverage real soon.